purpose of which is twofold. One, it gives the animal a break from the stress and anxiety of being in a shelter while helping manage population numbers. Second, it gives people a chance to experience pet ownership. The foster program launched initially among shelter staff, then to volunteers, and is now open to the public. Applications are on the county's new foster webpage. Despite 86% of U.S. employees reporting stress or burnout, nearly 1 in 3 say fear of layoffs is making them hesitate to take time off this summer. And among those who do, many don't expect to unplug fully. That's according to a new survey from Live Career.
Mostly cloudy with a high of 82 this afternoon. Some showers, even a thunderstorm move into southwestern areas later this afternoon and spread across the rest of the area tonight. Low 70. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Heather Zayer on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Some light rain is expected in the area within the next 30 minutes or so. Right now it's just cloudy downtown and 78 degrees. At 12:03, I'm Debbie Monterey, KMOX News.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
This is the Gashouse Gang on 104.1 FM KMOX. Sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin comfort dealer. And by Anderson Hospital, a Newsweek World's Best Hospital. Now, the Gashouse Gang on KMOX.
Dubar, foul tip into the catcher's mitt. Strike three. Strikes out for the fourth time today. And this ball game has come to an end.
Well, not the outcome we were looking for against the Toronto Blue Jays to wrap up the homestand. The Cardinals drop all 3 that they play after taking 2 of 3 from the visiting Dodgers over the weekend. It is the Gashouse Gang, and there are multiple ways that you can reach out to Bernie Miklas and me, Chris Ranji. You can call in or text in at 314-436-7900. You, if you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, find the Gashouse Gang, and you can leave a comment right there, and we will we'll get to you if we have the opportunity to do so. Also, voice message to the Odyssey app. You can do that as well. Tony La Russa is going to be our guest, Bernie, at 12:30. He's got an event at Stiefel Theater coming up next month on July 16th, celebrating the Cardinals championship. It's going to be a lot of fun.
He has put together first of all, it's great to be with you again, Chris. TLR, I was talking to him the other night. And he has put together an incredible guest list, and he's adding people still. And he's going to have other dignitaries who are non-athletes, and he's going to honor members of the military, and there's going to be raising funds for basically wounded veterans who are greatly benefited from a lot of services that can be provided to them, especially, like dogs who become their friends and look out for them and are kind of, I'm stumbling around. I can't think of the title that I'm looking for, but they're like therapy dogs. And it's unbelievable the number of veterans in our armed forces have benefited from having them by their side. And it's an incredibly valuable thing. This has become Tony La Russa's new passion. Like combining 2 things that he really, truly loves, which is animals, particularly dogs, but also Tony has always been in awe of the military and became really close friends with the famous general or colonel that Mel Gibson played in the film, and I'm fumbling his name. I'm not prepared, and I really apologize for that.
That's fine.
No, La Russa's like been at West Point, hanging out with generals. He's going to lunches there, like with all the cadets. I mean, so Tony is so fired up by this. I'm telling you, I think he's going to be on KMOX like every day from here until the event, trying to promote it and pack the Stiefel Theater. So I love that. I love that what he's doing here.
Yeah, it's coming up on July 16th, and we're going to talk to Tony about that. If you want tickets, go to Ticketmaster.com, and we will get to Tony in about a little bit less than a half hour from now. So, Bernie, this was not the homestand that the Cardinals were looking for. They ended up going 3-6. They have now dropped their last 4 games after winning the first two against the Dodgers. That was a promising series, and now this is how it ended. I know it's a long season, a lot of time left to go here, but that's what you can't do at home. And I know these were good teams, and we talked about how difficult this homestand was going to be because Kansas City's not anything to sneeze at, and we know the Blue Jays are good. We definitely know the Dodgers are good, but they needed to do a little better than this.
Yes, absolutely. And I gotta throw something in here real quick so I don't embarrass myself, because I was fumbling for the name of Tony La Russa's great friend, the late General Harold G. Moore, who was played by Mel Gibson in the great film We Were Soldiers. So I fumbled that so bad I had to go back to it. Anyway,
that's all right.
The Cardinals are 4-8 in their last 12 games. The pitching has fallen apart, except for maybe Sonny Gray and to an extent Eric Fetty. The bullpens get hit hard. The staff, starters and relievers, their strikeout rates are, like, in terms of recent times, as low as it's ever been all season. Cardinals defense isn't as sharp as it's been. The offense is quieted down. So listen, there was no way after they won 20 out of 27 games, there's no way they were able to keep that up. I expected them to cool down. Don't get me wrong. But the thing I don't like about this, or the thing I should say concerns me about this, it's one thing to kind of go through a losing stretch. But in this case, like, everything is kind of going wrong. And like all the different areas of the team just aren't performing at a good level right now. And that's a little concerning because all of that's got to kind of be pulled back up somehow. And some of it will be, but maybe some won't be.
I guess there are a bunch of ways you can look at it. One is all of these signs are not promising, as you mentioned, and you're hoping that these trends aren't predictive, that it doesn't mean that what's to come here over the next several weeks is bad baseball. We hope that it's not that. That's one way to look at it. The other way, if you want to take an optimistic view, is they go 3 of their last 9, winning 3 of their last 9. And they didn't fall that much in the standings. They lost a couple of games to the Cubs, but still they trail by 5. So I guess it depends on your perspective, right?
Yeah, and they're still well within the wild card range. I mean, they're 2.5 games behind the Padres, who have the third ticket, their wild card ticket right now. Now, this is an important series in Milwaukee because starting tonight, and of course, we'll hear that on KMOX 104.9. 9, is it? Yeah, 104.1. I got to see. I'm telling you, I'm having a bad fact day.
No, it's a good thing I do know the frequency.
That's right.
That's like the only thing I have to know.
I know. I can't believe it. So somebody slapped me. Is anyone in the house can come up here and slap me? But anyway, but no, 4 games with the Brewers, who are pretty hot. They've won 15 of the last 23. They can't wait to get the Cardinals in there, and the Brewers. Here they come again. They've had all incredible number of injuries, and now they're only a half game behind the Cardinals. And the Reds are creeping up too. They're a game and a half behind the Cardinals. I mean, there's still some questions about them. So the point is, this would be a good time. This series is important for the Cardinals. I don't know about you, Chris. I tend to look at 4-game series as going into it. I just expect a split. It doesn't mean it always happens. What the Cardinals can't do, they have some wounds right now, so to speak. What they can't do is not that it would be fatal, but you don't want to see them lose 3 out of 4.
No.
You want to see them at least get a split.
No, and that's why I do think this series is important. I called it pivotal earlier, and there are going to be a lot of pivotal series, I think, over the course of the season. But the reason this is for me is because the Brewers are only a half game back. We don't have that much time before the trade deadline. We're about 6 weeks away from that, maybe a little bit more than that, which means that everything that happens over the next several days and weeks is going to help inform what they do at the deadline. If it's anything, it could just be, they hang on to what they've got. A big part of me believes that's what they would end up doing anyway, even if they were in competition for the division, maybe acquire a reliever, but I thought it was pretty likely they would stand pat. But if they start to slip, if they start to fall back here, Bernie, they're 5 games out right now. You have a bad series against the Brewers, then they might start really looking at what they can move from the roster.
No, I would agree with that. That's why this is a crucial stretch between, this is the start of a stretch of 9 series that lead into the All-Star break. But then right after the All-Star break is the trade deadline. So this is really very much going to determine where they are and what they are and what will come. And I'm with you. I mean, would there be, they'll be in a position if they want to plug in Michael McGreevy in the rotation, to plug in some others perhaps in the rotation, and maybe put Steven Matz back in the rotation if he's not traded. But they'll have the wherewithal, or they'll have the flexibility, I think, to flip an Eric Fetty if there is a demand for him, for example. Ryan Helsley too. But one thing about Ryan Helsley is that I wonder how much the market for him has dropped, because
lately.
I don't care. Yeah, I don't care that he blows a couple of saves, but his four-seam fastball all of a sudden, for the first time in his career, has become extremely hittable, and it's kind of a mystery to me. I mean, this year, that's his favorite pitch, and opponents have hit 429 against it and have a slugging percentage like 582. And when he's behind in the count, you wouldn't believe the numbers against that four. He gets behind in the count, then he throws the four-seam fastball, and they just crush it. And that's not Ryan Helsley. So baseball people, with all their fancy pants numbers and all that, they can break down every single pitcher there is about what his weaknesses are. So I'd love, for Ryan Helsley's sake, because he's a class act, he really is. I'd love to see him just sort of figure this out, this problem with his fastball, and get back on track, because it'll help him. But it could also, in theory, help the Cardinals if they decide to shop him around.
Yeah, it could, and it could help them build toward 2026 if, again, the team falls out of contention here. And maybe that doesn't happen. Look, they've got this series. It's a 4-gamer against the Brewers. Then you've got an awful White Sox team that you have to go there and play. You should be able to take 2 of 3 there at least. You should. If you don't, then you got problems. Then 3 more against the Reds at home. And it's that series against the Cubs that starts on the 22nd of this month. That's a 4-game series. It's a Monday through Thursday. That's one, Bernie, that, I mean, that could be a series that either completely puts it away for them, or they claw their way back if they haven't already done it between now and then. That's going to be a really, really big series here.
It is, and on 2 levels. If you want to at least chase the Cubs, you're going to have to do well in that series. But also, any wins you get, no matter who you're playing, but again, especially against the good teams where it's going to be a challenge, that'll help you in the wild card race too. So I can't wait to see the Cubs in here, and I can't wait to see the Cardinals in Wrigley. They're going to play 7 times between June 22nd or 23rd and July
6th or something. They got the 4th of July weekend at Wrigley Field. Yep.
So that's going to be a lot of fun. And the one thing about the Cubs, is if Tom Ricketts gives Jed Hoyer the green light, and no one knows whether Ricketts will be aggressive enough, the Cubs are going to go in big for a starting pitcher, probably a reliever. I mean, there's going to be no doubt about them really trying to make a move to strengthen the team. Where the Cardinals, I think we all expect, if they do anything in terms of bringing talent in, it'll be kind of a moderate level.
Cubs will at least get some relief help. I don't know if they're going to get that starter they want, but that's the thing they need the most.
No doubt.
That's their team. What they need the most is getting that starter, the extra one. I don't know what will happen, but there are questions about them and how they'll operate, considering their fan base feels like they didn't do enough during the offseason when they had the opportunity. So now, will they overcorrect and try to do something really big at the deadline? We'll see about that. But the Cardinals situation is really... the next couple of weeks are going to be really interesting in figuring out what they do here. And I'm excited for it, but I'm also quite a bit nervous.
Right. I agree with that. That's kind of how I feel too. The one thing I like about it is that I don't think too much was expected. So they've already sort of gone above the expectations. But the one thing, when you go above expectations, where people think, and nationally, the Cardinals weren't even on the radar. Locally, it was kind of like, well, they're probably not going to have a great year, but maybe they'll find out some things about their players, but I'm not really thinking they're going to be much of a factor. Maybe that kind of attitude. But what's great when you're an underdog that rises up and surprises everyone? all of a sudden the standards become higher. It's
That's
like, well,
right.
wait a minute, wait a minute. Can they continue to do this? And then if they slack off, people are like, okay, well, that's who they really were all along. It's an interesting time because the Cardinals still have a chance to change perceptions. Like the perception of them going to the season was they're a non-factor. They changed it to, surprise contender. Now people are I'm mostly outside of St. Louis, are starting to say, well, okay, they're kind of finding their own level again. So much for that. Well, they have a chance to change that perception too. So I like that. And I think they thrive when they're kind of in that underdog mentality. And to me, they're back in it again.
Well, they need to use it. Whatever you have, use that Michael Jordan thing we were talking about last week. I remember I think I was talking about with Claves that he used to invent slights against him just so that he had some motivation. Right. Yeah, but the Cardinals pretend like nobody thinks you're any good, and then go out there and try to win. That's what you can do.
Yeah, I agree.
All right.
I agree.
Bernie Miklas with me, Chris Ranji. We do have Tony La Russa coming up just after 12:30. He's going to join the show. We're looking forward to talking to him. We want to hear from you, though. Message us on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter. Or if you want to text, you could do that. Or leave a message on the Odyssey app. The Gashouse Gang on KMOX.
Hi, my name is Christina Straight, the owner of Straight Realty, and I'm asking you, what do you want in a realtor? Do you want experience? I've been a broker for over 21 years. Do you want to know how much I've sold? I've sold over $500 million, yes, $1 billion with a B, in sales. Do you want value? I now list properties for only 2%. So, if you're looking for all these things and want the best, then call me 314-441-4444. Why pay more than 2? You can also listen to my podcast on my website, straightrealty.com.
Commissions are not regulated and are negotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
Summer is here. Time to enjoy baseball, barbecues, and the shade of your trees. When it comes to tree care, call the certified arborist at Gamma Tree Experts. Hi, I'm Tim Gamma. Protect your valuable trees from storm damage or devastating insects such as the emerald ash borer. Knowledge and quality are hallmarks of our reputation. For pruning, spraying, fertilization, or removals, call Gamma Tree Experts today at 314-725-6159 or visit us at gammatree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify.
Ready to make lake life a reality? With Anywhere Lombardo at Lake of the Ozarks, you can build a home designed just for you. Whether it's a cozy retreat or a luxurious lakeside escape, our custom designs bring your vision to life, set against stunning lake views and peaceful surroundings, the perfect balance of relaxation and adventure. With a trusted builder backed by long-standing vendor relationships, you'll enjoy cost savings and superior quality from start to finish. Start your dream home today with Anywhere Lombardo. Visit lombardohomes.com to learn more.
Mizzou football is here to stay. After an undefeated home season and a second straight 10-win year, the Tigers are looking for more in 2025.
Eli and the boys have done it again.
With a top 10 transfer portal class and a strong home schedule highlighted by Kansas, Alabama, South Carolina, and Texas A&M, you don't want to miss out. Get your spot in line by joining the season ticket waitlist at mutigers.com/FB waitlist. MIZ.
Don't let mosquitoes ruin your time outdoors. At Rottler Pest Solutions, our mosquito control services are designed to dramatically reduce mosquito activity so you can enjoy your yard in peace. Take back your yard. Visit Rottler.com today to learn more and schedule your free inspection.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friend Mark Cantor at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer, so I take this very seriously. Mark is a great attorney. He has a great team. He is from St. Louis. He is local. Call 314-628-9999 or visit CantorInjuryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertising. advertisements.
Cards manager Ollie Marble joins the Gas House Gang every Tuesday at noon. Sponsored by Siteman Cancer Center on the voice of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Lauer into the windup and the 1-2 pitch. The Cardinal catcher hits a high fly ball to left field. That's back to the track at the wall, and it's a gunner. Pozo with his first home run for the Cardinals, his second of the year.
Cardinals tonight, we've got a 6:40 first pitch on 104.1 FM KMOX. Matt Pauley has the 5:45 pregame show. The Redbird Rush Hour is right before that at 5 o'clock. Talking some Cardinals baseball, Pauley and Kevin Wheeler. I've got Bernie Miklas with me, Chris Ranji, on the Gas House Gang, and we want to hear from you if you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter. You can, and the Twitter account you want to find is at KMOX Sports. So we are streaming live there if you want to. And you can leave a comment on the stream, and we will get to some of your questions. Also, you can text in at 314-436-7900. Bill is also watching on YouTube and is talking about Lars Nootbaar, who's now striking out at 41% in his last 31 games. And if you're at the top of the order, even though I don't really have a huge issue with the way they've been hitting, Bernie, because they still have been scoring runs, that hasn't really been much of the problem. It's been more pitching than anything else. You can't really have that from the guy at the top of your order either. You really don't want him striking out that much.
I got to be honest with you. It's fashionable now for Cardinals fans and some others to act like, oh, I told you all this would happen. No, you actually didn't. It's one thing to say that maybe he was been a little overrated. I get that. But Lars Nootbaar was a huge presence at the top of this lineup for the first couple months of the season. But even towards the second couple of weeks of May, he started to slack off. And I am stunned by how bad the depth of his slump. You know, if you just look at where he's been, I think during this 4 and 8 stretch that they're in, he's got a batting average less than 200. And Chris, his strikeout rate over that time is 36%. And this is a guy who in his major league career has a strikeout rate that's barely over 20%. And in a couple of his seasons, it was just under 20%. So when he is striking out at that extremely high rate, you know, that's a little concerning. They really need him to pull it together, and it's got to start in Milwaukee. I mean, they can't go on like this, because the great thing about Nootbaar, he's a very influential player, but that works both ways. He can propel your lineup, or he can bring your lineup down, and we've seen both of that this season. But they have several guys who have not been hitting very well lately, and the offense is still capable, highly capable, but I was looking this up today, and no fancy pants stats here, but each month, you know, if you go from March, April, then you go to May, now you go to June, it's gotten worse progressively each month. Mm-hmm. But that's kind of baseball too, you know, and unless you have this super lineup, you're going to have fluctuations.
Yeah, that strikeout rate has gone from March and April, first month of the season, 15% to 23.5%, and now it's at 35, close to 36%. For the month of June, and you know we're almost halfway through. That's not great for Nootbaar, and he's not walking as much. May was a really bad month for him in terms of getting on base via the walk. He wasn't even doing much of that.
He's just way too aggressive. The thing that makes him such a quality leadoff man is his patience and the way he works pitchers, and he tires them out, and he makes them throw a lot of pitches, and their teammates are watching. The guys are about to come up. They're seeing how pitchers, what they're using, which pitches are working, which pitches aren't working. So it not only helps Nootbaar to grind away against opposing pitchers, but it kind of gives his teammates a scouting report about what to expect. But he's been going up there like hacking at everything. And that you just can't have that in the leadoff hole. You just can't.
No, and yes, they've been scoring runs, and you can get away with that for a while, but you can't get away with it for too long if the guy at the top of the order is not getting on base for you. Steve is also watching on YouTube and sort of follows up with 8, 9, and 1 in the order are struggling, and that is a problem when you've got a third of your lineup that isn't doing particularly well. Again, you can get by for a while, but at some point it's going to be a problem.
Yeah, and Victor Scott, and I can't be too hard on him, but reality's kind of hit because as Ollie Marmol told us on the Gashouse Gang Tuesday, he's with us every Tuesday from 12 to about 12:35, 12:40. He said, he used the phrase they're spinning him. They're pitching to him differently. They're throwing a lot of stuff that moves. They're throwing slower stuff, a lot of breaking stuff, and he has to adapt. But he works really hard. He's really smart, so I think that he will adapt. But he's been having a hard time. And there's sort of a good news, bad news thing on Mason Wynn. He gave the team a boost when Ollie Marmol moved him to the 2-hole, but by moving him to the 2-hole, you also, in effect, weaken the bottom part of your lineup because when he was batting 8th to Scott's 9th, those two working in tandem down there were really made that lineup deep. So yeah, there's too many people that are in that the hitters that they rely on really need to start picking it up.
It's true that if you remove him from that bottom of the order, you're weakening that 1/3 of the lineup, but you still need a guy who's producing offensively one way or another. You need more of that at the top of the order. It's more valuable. He's more valuable to them right now at 2 than he was at the bottom of the order.
So, I kind of liked what Ollie Marmol is doing. At least seems like he's thinking about doing is just putting Ivan Herrera in the 2-hole because that guy draws walks. He hits for power. He's a scary presence. He hits for average. He's not going to steal Blake. He runs well for a catcher.
Yeah,
but it's not like you don't need him to steal bases. That's not his game. So I would like to see him in the 2-hole if they're going to keep Wynn batting first. And with Mason Wynn, his on base percentage as leadoff guy last year was really lousy. They can't have that at the top of the lineup this year.
Bernie Miklasz, Chris Ranji on the Gashouse Gang, brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, SaligaHeatingandCooling.com. When we come back, we will talk to former Cardinals manager and Baseball Hall of Famer Tony La Russa next on KMOX.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Partly cloudy and 80 degrees in St. Louis. The high today will be 82. The weather brought to you by Terrace Senior Living of Eureka.
Hi, Mia here at the winnings desk of the Missouri Lottery. So, I wanted to write a thank you note for every dollar Missouri Lottery players have given to Missouri and education. But that would be 8.4 billion notes. So to save a little time and a whole lot of paper, here's just one. Dear every single lottery player in Missouri, thank you for helping us give $8.4 billion to Missouri and education. Sorry, my trumpet's in the shop. The Missouri Lottery. Winners welcome and play responsibly.
Hi, Stacy with Fairwinds River's Edge Senior Living in St. Charles. Are you a senior seeking a fun retirement? Do you want less work and more play? Do you want to enjoy great food that you don't have to cook? Then I know. Stop what you're doing right now and call Fairwinds. Set up a time to visit and have a meal. Meet some of our awesome residents. Check us out online at fairwindsriversedge.com. We hope to talk with you soon.
Check out the Terrace in Eureka for affordable senior living with 24-hour nursing supervision, delicious meals, medication management, and activities. The Terrace is affordable and will work with your Medicaid plan. Go to rspseniorliving.com and look for the Terrace Private Assisted Living.
Another checkup? Why are so many people getting new puppies?
Dr. Kim's veterinary office is littered with cuteness.
We are booked solid for weeks, but who can say no to a puppy, right? Oh, who's your good boy? Oh,
She needs to find extra vet techs to get those pups some extra love.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, candidates can find it easier, so you can hire easier. Redeem your $75 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, listen to this. All I needed was a new starter. Got a great deal on eBay. Did it myself.
Yeah, that's cool. But how about the soft purr of an upgraded exhaust when it fits just right?
For me, it's the little things. Like these new windshield wipers from eBay I installed. From small fixes to big upgrades, eBay has all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Taco to go. Taco to and a big Q. Taco to go. Taco to go. Quick Trip Taco just $2.99. Comes with a big Q. They steal so fine. Brisket breakfast, so much to choose for $2.99. You really can't lose. Taco to go. Taco to. These deals legit. Taco to go. Taco only at Quick Trip. Taco to go. Taco to go. Taco to go. $2.99.
Cards manager Ollie Marble joins the Gas House Gang every Tuesday at noon. Sponsored by Siteman Cancer Center on the voice of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is the Gas House Gang until 1 o'clock before the Dave Glover Show takes over. Time to go to the guest line this afternoon. Bernie Miklasz, Chris Ranji with you now. And we bring in Hall of Fame baseball manager, former manager of the Cardinals and the A's and the White Sox. He is, as I mentioned, a Hall of Famer. Tony La Russa joins us on KMOX. Good afternoon, Tony. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you, fellas.
Well, we're happy to have you. We know you got an event coming up here in St. Louis that we're going to talk about here in just a moment in July. But what's been going on with Tony La Russa lately?
Well, I've been fortunate ever since I signed out of high school. Every year I've been able to stay, with the game that I love. And here later in my career, I'm back with the White Sox as a special advisor. So spending a lot of time in the minor leagues looking at our young players.
Tony, Bernie, it's good to have you on with us. Was looking forward to this. And Tony, the other night was my late night text message buddy. So we were talking about a lot of great things. But and I can't wait to talk about this event because it's going to be a knockout. I mean, it's unbelievable the lineup you're putting together. But before we get to that, because we want to sell that thing out at Stiefel Theater, and we're going to try to do that at KMOX, and I'm going to try to do that too because it's such for a great cause. And it'll be a great night. So that's a little teaser to what's coming next. I want to ask your opinion of the Cardinals. I mean, I know you work for the White Sox, but I also know you watch baseball. What do you think of how they've done this year so far? Not a lot was expected, but it looks like they've enjoyed, sort of taking on that underdog vibe. What are your impressions of their season so far?
Very impressed. You looked at the person. I mean, I follow the Cardinals. I mean, that's. You got loyalty to the A's, the White Sox, and the Cardinals. Of course, the Cardinals are 16 years. But, I looked at their roster and when they went to camp, and then I followed as much as I could during spring training, and they looked competitive to me. I know they've had the Goldie's not there. I know they're having the issues with Arenado, but I thought that they looked competitive. I know they got the slow start, but I was impressed with, you listen and you read a lot about how guys and the management and coaching staff take the season. You don't get too high if you get started good, and you don't start panicking if you don't. And I thought they handled it professionally. And one thing about young guys, once they get a taste of success and winning, boy, they're fun to watch.
Certainly, this Cardinals team is different. The roster makeup is very different than what you had when you were in St. Louis. So for Oliver Marmol, as you watch the way he has grown as a manager, what are your thoughts on what he's doing?
Well, I'm impressed. And more importantly, one of our greatest players, Mr. Pujols, I saw recently gave him very high marks. And I watch the Cardinals, and I watch as much as I can the moves, but I know that you come in their first year and you win, and it's not that easy, and all of a sudden lose a couple of veterans. But I think that this year, there's always something with experience, and you can tell, in my opinion, that Ollie is learning as he goes, which is, I think you learn until you finish managing or playing. So that's not a knock on learning. It's just you better keep learning. That's a George Kissel special, by the way. So I'm impressed with the job that Ollie and the staff are doing, and I like the fact that the division is tough, which brings out the best in you.
Ollie is on with us on KMOX on this Gashouse Gang show every Tuesday from about noon to 12:30 or 12:40. And I asked him, I said, well, that 2023 season was tough. You lose 91 games. People are all over you. But did that help you grow as a manager? And he said something interesting, and I thought of you too, Tony. He said the one thing that's made me better is I realize I just got to block all that stuff out. He says, as long as I can look in the mirror and know that I'm doing my best for my players and that I'm pouring myself into my players, I just can't be distracted by a lot of outside criticism or whatever it is. And I'm sure in some of your conversations with him, you've probably communicated that to him. Is that something that is important, especially for a young manager?
I think if there's one word there, Bernie, that is so critical, and it's critical for a manager, it's critical for the players, and the word is distractions. A lot of what happens out on the field, if it's good, it's because you blocked out anything that could be distracting from the job at hand. How you're going to do what you're supposed to do. It's very easy, as of human nature, it's very easy to get sidetracked, or you start focusing on things that get you off your fundamentals. So, that's a very impressive lesson early on that Ollie has learned. It's going to be very useful going forward.
Tony La Russa with us on Gashouse Gang, and I know that there is probably the way fans look at what a baseball manager is. They probably think there's more influence than there actually is. Not that there's not a ton of influence, because there is. I think they think there's more than what is in reality. So what do you think? I mean, you could tell me that I'm wrong, that maybe it is a lot about the manager. But if it's not, what is the most important job that a baseball manager in 2025 can do?
Well, I will disagree with you, because I do think it's the manager and coaching staff. You have a significant influence on the culture, on the day-to-day commitment to playing and learning. That's leadership, and you're in a position of leadership. If you don't have that, you're not going to be as good. And we can get in this for a long time, and I don't want to get into it a long time, but unfortunately what happened when a very useful tool, which is all the information that started coming around 2000, very useful, but one of the problems has been the exaggeration of what it does and how it kind of makes you a robot as a manager and coach, which is absolutely wrong. Once the game starts, it's so volatile that you need to adjust your decision making on a day-to-day basis. You adjust based on the culture. You're getting too high, anything. Now, I say that because it's a very important responsibility, and if you don't do it right, the team's not going to be as good. But the number one factor are the players, the ones that are actually competing. I mean, they're the game, and they play the game for the fans. But it'd be a big mistake not to understand that the coaching staff, led by the manager, needs to have that contribution that puts them in a position to win.
Absolutely. And Tony, real quick here, before we move on to something else, the players, I can't tell you how much the younger Cardinals players, the way they talk about Daniel Descalso and now John Jay. And they really, really do. And these guys are constantly teaching, helping, instructing, also holding players accountable in a positive way. Just making sure that they believe in them, but they got to do some things differently. But I got to ask you, man, it's got to make you tremendously proud to see some of your former players who were big on your 2011 championship team. To see them developing into leaders, and both of these guys, I don't think there's any question, are going to be major league managers. How much pride does that give you?
Well, I want to answer that carefully, because I always equate everything like that I just did to the staff. Manager is part of the staff. I think as a staff, we take pride. If you're the outfield coach and you were involved with John Day, you're going to feel great. If you're the infield coaches like Okendo and Patini, you're going to love what Descalzo has become. But, like I said before, the culture is created. It actually starts at the top, ownership, front office. But the day-to-day culture is created by the coaches. And when you see guys respond, yeah, you are prideful, but you just think it's so important. And we would not have had the success we had over the years had not the players taken charge of that clubhouse and made sure that we went about our business like they did back in the 60s with, Gibby and Brock and Stan, like they did in the 80s with Whitey's clubs. It's the same formula, but it needs to be worked. It doesn't happen automatically.
Wednesday, July 16th at Stiefel Theater, Russa Rescue Champions and the PenFed Foundation for Military Heroes has Celebrate Cardinals Championships. That's what's coming up here. Tony La Russa, this is his event. Joe Buck is going to host it. Going to have a lot of Cardinals dignitaries there, like David Eckstein and Rick Ankiel, David Freese, and Will Clark. Tony, tell us about this event coming up July 16th.
I appreciate the opportunity. I really do, because I'm excited about it. And I'll tell you very quickly, at the beginning of the germ of this idea happened, in my opinion, personally, with the Hall of Fame committee in the January the last couple of years. Bernie's a part of it and others. And it was a recognition by the Cardinals and Bill and Billy DeWitt that 2 years ago that Dave Duncan was a guy that had to be recognized. And this year it's going to be, Walt Jocketty. And that it was very popular with all of us. And if you go fast forward to opening day, when we all came, a bunch of us came together for the great celebration. We were together the day before to late at night, and we were there after the game till late at night. And we were talking about the recognition of the two guys who were so important. But then we started talking about, keeping the memories alive. And it's very important to, in the case of Darryl, Kyle, for example, for all the fans, not 10 years from now, not to forget him, to understand what a great teammate he is. So the product of that was we decided that we were going to find a way to get together. And I'd had some experience putting events together, and what you see happening is going to be, I think, entertaining for the fans. There's going to be some great videos of historic moments, but the biggest thing is going to happen is players are going to be seated on half of them in the first half and half in the second half, and they're going to tell experiences and stories. And I've done it before, and the fans really enjoy seeing and hearing how and why certain things that they remembered as part of the history, how they happened, and very often very entertaining and a lot of fun. And at the same time, we're going to have a comedian with Tom Cotter, and we're going to definitely, because a lot of the funding is going to, the benefits are going to go to recognizing veterans and first offenders and putting them there with dogs. We're going to have this amazing Delta Force hero, Tom Satterley, start the second half. So, one thing I made sure, because I'd be pounding myself if I didn't mention it, the part of how we decided to put this together was to make sure it was accessible to all fans. And because of the size of the Stiefel Theater, if you look at the prices, the great majority of seats are either $65 or $40. So there's going to be nobody that can think, well, I'd like to bring my family, but we can't afford it. I think it's really priced at a place where, like Bernie says, I hope we can sell it out.
It'd be great. It's going to be great. And Tony, I know you don't want any praise on this stuff, but you have been relentless through the years, many years of making sure you set up things that raise money for extremely worthy causes, but also to just give people, to honor people in a way they deserve. And you've been really, really consistent in that. And I just love the fact that you're still doing it, and you're still bringing it to St. Louis. And this is a great event. I'm looking at your partial guest list and all the people that are coming. And gosh, the stories that are going to be told and the laughs people are going to have, and the memories and everything else. And I can't wait to hear what everybody says about the late great Darryl Kyle, and also Walt Jocketty getting into the Cardinals Hall of Fame was near and dear to my heart. And I'm just I'm so thrilled that it's going to happen, and he's going to get the recognition that he obviously earned many times over. So I thank you. I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for setting this up.
Well, I'm a product of what I've learned to you many times, Bernie. There isn't anything I did strategically or any other philosophically with the Cardinals that I didn't learn from somebody. And working for Jerry Reinsdorf and then Walter Haas and the DeWitts, you learn you're very fortunate and blessed to be doing something as public as baseball. You've got to give back, and that's a lesson that my family, Lane, Bianca, and Devin, our part of giving back has always been to tie it together with companion animals and their welfare.
Thank you for being with us today, Tony. We're really looking forward to next month at Stiefel Theater.
I hope you have me on again, man. We got to push this.
Oh, yeah. Well, no. Hey, come on. We'll have you on plenty of times.
Absolutely.
You can be on every day if you want.
I'm going to talk to Steve Moore, runs the place. I'm going to say we need a Tony La Russa show here on KMOX, like three times a week.
You guys.
3 times a week, an hour each time. Are you in for that? 1 hour each day, 3 days a week.
Well, it definitely helps that the Cardinals are contenders, believe me.
Okay, good.
Go Cardinals.
Tony La Russa, Hall of Fame manager Tony La Russa. Again, Ticketmaster.com for tickets or the Stiefel Theater box office. It is Wednesday, July 16th. And as Bernie and Tony mentioned, a lot of Cardinals favorites are going to be there, like Jim Edmonds and Jason Isringhausen, Mike Matheny, Reggie Sanders, Woody Williams. Will Clark will be there. Ticketmaster.com for tickets. Bernie, as we get to break here on Gas House Gang, let's talk about our friends at Saliga.
Be happy to. Saliga Heating and Cooling is a St. Louis institution. This Daikin Comfort Dealer has been taking care of generations of St. Louis families since 1927, including the Miklases, the last 16, 17 years. And Dan Saliga is the fourth owner, operator of this great family business. Listen, all I can do is point to their history and ask the question: if they weren't great at what they did, what they've done through the decades, the same family continuously owned this great St. Louis business, do you think they'd still be going strong, still growing nearly 100 years later? What does that say about their credibility or how good they are and how trustworthy they are? And I can back that up through our own experience. The Miklas family, 17 years now, has been calling on Saliga, and we have come to love and respect the standards they set for honesty and knowledge and promptness and professionalism. They're classy when they come into your home. And they've always looked for ways to save us money if we have a problem. So to find that kind of integrity, man, you just embrace that. And that's why we're so loyal to Saliga Heating and Cooling. One other thing before I go, I just want you to go to Saliga Heating and Cooling and take a look at their Priority Club maintenance program. It's a winner. It's a winner. It's paid off for us many times over. So to get more on that, go to SaligaHeatingandCooling.com. That's SaligaHeatingandCooling.com. Thank you.
I'm Ultima Morgan. Every year, almost 30,000 babies in America are born with birth injuries. It's every parent's worst nightmare. If your child suffered a birth injury, please call our firm to find out if we can help.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Named one of Newsweek's world's best hospitals for 2025, Anderson Hospital is your hospital for life, delivering exceptional, compassionate care to families across the Metro East. From emergency services to specialized treatments, our dedicated team supports your health at every stage. Experience world-class care close to home. Discover the difference at andersonhospital.org. Hey St. Louis! MERS Goodwill is proud to sponsor the St. Louis City Match on June 14th, and we want you to be a part of the excitement. This is more than just a match, it's a day of giving back. Bring your new or gently used clothing and household items to donate at designated drop-off zones outside Energizer Park between 12:30 and 3 p.m. Join us for the City and Goodwill Donation Drive on June 14th. Give hope, give local, give goodwill.
On the Chris and Amy Show, we're launching 100 Acts of Kindness because apparently honking less in traffic doesn't count as charity.
We're teaming up with Jerry Kelly Heating and Cooling to prove kindness doesn't have to cost a dime.
Hold the door, say thank you, help your neighbor take out their trash without throwing yours in first.
No grand gesture required, just small, simple acts of human decency. We believe in you.
Join us and share your stories with hashtag 100KindActs.
Kindness, it's like a group hug without the awkwardness.
SNL Coin. We buy gold and silver coins, silver and gold jewelry. Also buying gold-filled and silver plates. Before you sell, call SNL. 314-544-3600. 314-544-3600. SNL Coin.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/deal. That's leaffilter.com/deal.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Now back to the Gashouse Gang, sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling and by Anderson Hospital on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Line drive, base hit, center field, 1-0 Cardinals. Contreras with his 43rd RBI. Wynn scores, and the Cardinals are on the board.
Yeah, the Cardinals tonight, they've got baseball in Milwaukee, first of a 4-game series, as we mentioned earlier. 5:45 pregame with Matt Pauley, and then the first pitch at 6:40. Pretty big series for them. I think as big of a series that you can have in the middle of June. That's what this is. Yeah, right. So because they're 5 games out in the division, and you don't want to fall too far behind. That's really the issue. This is still a manageable deficit in the National League Central, Bernie. You can't get too far behind because then you're talking about white flag time by the time you get to the deadline.
And in addition to just the NL Central, which has gotten better, I know the Pirates are still bad, but I think Cincinnati is a dangerous team, an intriguing team, capable of getting hot, which they have. Milwaukee's always going to they're sneaky. They're going to find ways to win. The Cubs have maybe the best offense in baseball. Cardinals have done everything pretty well. They've just tailed off lately. But you have a lot of high-spending teams in the National League. The National League is just really loaded. I know a couple of the teams really stink, but it's a loaded league. And so the wild card fight's going to be really difficult too. And so the Cardinals are going to have to just stay close there.
That's right. They're going to have to be just stay afloat for a little bit here, and then hopefully things will take off from there. Bernie Miklasz, let's do it again next week. Of course, we got Oliver Marmol Tuesday at 12 o'clock, so he joins the show for that first half hour or so. We'll do it then. Thanks, Bernie.
Thank you, brother.
Bernie Miklasz and Chris Ranji. If you missed the Gashouse Gang and our chat with Tony La Russa, you can go back and get it on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, or on the Odyssey app. Just search Gashouse Gang, and you can find the latest episode of that. Coming up next, Dave Glover Show happens here. We appreciate you listening in. Gas House Gang comes back tomorrow at 12 o'clock with Claves and me on 104.1 FM KMOX.
You had a solid retirement dream, sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel. But with an unpredictable economy and the future feeling uncertain, you're wondering if that equity will still be